Welcome back to the deep dive. We are stepping onto the links today, but this is no ordinary course. We're talking about T-Legion TCG.
That's right. It's where you've got these mythic knights commanding colossal dragons.
Exactly, and the battlefield, it's this amazing fusion of like creature combat and real golf fundamentals, grip, stance, tempo.
And the unforgiving physics of the shot, absolutely. It's a really fascinating synthesis.
It really is.
Most TCGs, they just focus purely on offense, right?
Yeah.
But T-Legion, it forces you into tactical geography, environmental management. It's deep.
So what are we diving into today? What's the mission?
Well, our sources are the deep design docs, and our mission today is very targeted. We're doing an intensive, full spotlight on the Stonebacks.
Ah, the Stonebacks.
Okay.
The formidable earth dragons. I always think of them as the anchors of the field.
That's a perfect way to put it. They're intrinsically linked to the reliability, the structure of the ironclads.
So we're going to unpack their whole strategic philosophy, defense, hazards.
Yeah.
That slow inevitability you mentioned.
Exactly. And to really get the Stoneback strategy, you first have to understand their defining stat, Dragon Guard, or DG.
DG.
DG is basically the measure of a unit's inherent toughness, how well it can, shrug off hit damage, HD.
Okay.
And for Stonebacks, DG isn't just a number on a card, it's their core mechanical identity. It lets them absorb the chaos that other, maybe flashier factions thrive on.
So if the game's designed around volatility, lots of big hits, crazy swings, the Stonebacks are kind of the counter-argument to that.
Precisely. They're stability incarnate. So, okay, maybe let's ground ourselves first in the actual mechanics, the foundation of T-Legion. We need to get how the combat loop works before we really place the Stonebacks properly within it.
Good idea. Lay out the turn structure for us.
Right, so the game turn rhythm, it's designed to mimic that deliberation and execution of a perfect golf shot. The phases themselves are a pretty standard TCG fare, but the consequences, they're unique.
Okay.
The turn starts with the start phase. Simple enough. Draw one card, resolve any of those slow, steady trickle effects.
Effects that Stoneback players probably love, right? Gradual resource building.
Oh, absolutely. They favor that steady accumulation. Then you move into the command step. Your knight, who's safely rooted back on the teeing ground, gives a single order to just one dragon.
Just one. So that choice is critical.
Hugely critical. Strike, defend, maybe activate an ability. That one choice often dictates the whole tactical outcome for that turn.
Okay, command given. What's next?
Next up is the strike and resolve phase. This is where the rubber meets the road, or the club meets the ball. The dragon rolls a six-sided die.
Ah, the dice roll. A moment of truth.
Exactly. It determines the shot shape outcome. Could be a clean straight shot, maybe a tactile draw or fade, or it could be one of the dreaded catastrophic mishits. Hook, slice, shank.
And those usually mean trouble. Hazards, right?
Invariably tag a hazard zone, yeah. That roll is the core moment of chance, the swing itself.
Okay, and after the swing?
Finally, you've got the relics and reactions phase. This is where you play your instance, use persistent modifiers to maybe tweak those outcomes before you clean everything up in end phase.
So it's a very structured sequence. Every decision feels like it carries weight.
It really does. From club selection, which dragon you use, to the command itself. Now let's connect that action to the core stats, because this is where we start seeing that Stoneback advantage really emerge.
Right, the four stats. Let's break those down. Give us the tactical hierarchy, starting with the score itself.
Sure, that's GP, game points. Simple enough, it's your health pool and it's your match score. If your knight's GP hits 0, the knight is cut. Game over, you lose.
So the ultimate objective, protect the GP.
Protects the GP, which immediately elevates anything that deals with GP protection or recovery. That's the survival engine.
Okay, stat 2.
Next is HD, hit damage. This is your raw strike power. It's the number that, the Flame Wings and the really aggressive factions just stack relentlessly. They live and die by maximizing that HD output.
Makes sense, the firepower.
Then we get to the Stoneback's primary weapon, their shield, really. DG, Dragon Guard. We've introduced it, but let's be really explicit about how it works against HD.
Okay.
DG is straight up damage reduction. So, say a big flaming dragon hits a Stoneback dragon with 500 HD. If that Stoneback has 400 DG...
It only takes 100 damage.
Exactly. And crucially, the damage is resolved by subtraction, not like percentage reduction. This is key. High GG provides an absolute threshold of safety.
Okay. So if an opponent tries to nickel and dime you, maybe hit you with several smaller attacks, say 3 different attacks dealing 150 HD each.
Right.
And your Stoneback is just sitting there with 400 DG.
You take 0 damage. From all 3 hits, they just bounce off. The opponent has to reach a breakpoint. They've got to stack enough HG on a single dragon strike just to overcome that DG threshold.
Wow, okay, that completely flips the script.
It instantly flips the tactical imperative. Flamewings now have to spend resources boosting their HD just to get past the DG, which means they're spending resources that aren't hitting your knight's GP directly.
So the Stoneback forces these unfavorable resource trades. That's attrition right there.
That is the definition of attrition. That's the core strategic takeaway. Stonebacks make opponents overcommit just to achieve parity, and that lets the Stoneback player control the tempo, slow things right down.
Okay, brilliant. So we have GP, HD, DG. What's the 4th stat?
The final stat is YDS, or yards, and this stat defines the tactical geography of the battlefield. It dictates where things happen on the landscape.
It's land zone, right? That's where the dragons line up. It segments the course into different distances, doesn't it? Like short putter slots up to the big driver slots?
Precisely. From 0.50 YDS for putters, way up to 280 plus YDS for drivers. And a dragon's YDS stat dictates its mandatory placement slot.
Mandatory, so you can't just stick a dragon anywhere.
Nope. You cannot deploy a dragon outside of its printed YDS band, and this is absolutely critical for the Stonebacks. They are irrevocably tied to the irons.
The irons, okay, so that means middle distance?
The reliable middle distance slots, exactly. 9 iron, that's 150, 170 YDS. 7 iron, 180, 200 YDS. And the 5 iron, 210, 230 YDS. They are the absolute backbone of consistency.
They're not going for the glory shot like a driver or the super delicate touch of a putter. They're just locking down the middle game.
Making sure it's airtight. And this leads us to a really crucial technical rule, one that balances out those distance modification effects you sometimes see.
Oh yeah, like what happens if a dragon's YDS changes mid-game?
Right, so say a Flamewine uses some kind of Tailwind Burst relic, gives all allied dragons plus 50 YDS temporarily. That Stoneback you have sitting in the 5i slot suddenly boasting 260 YDS.
Which is outside its normal 210, 230 band.
Correct. It stays put. It doesn't physically move slots.
But there's got to be a catch.
There is. It pays the price for that instability. It cannot strike. Not until its YDS returns to its legal band, back between 210 and 230. It's not just a physical penalty. It's a mechanical enforcement of slot discipline. Stick to your club.
So if an opponent pushes a Stoneback out of its natural range, even temporarily, they neutralize it offensively for that turn without even dealing damage.
Exactly, which means Stoneback players have to guard against YDS manipulation just as much as they guard against direct damage. It reinforces that grounded nature of the iron.
Okay, so they need the DG to survive hits, but they need that YDS stability to actually hit back. Fascinating.
It really is. Now, let's place the Stonebacks within the bigger elemental picture because their role as the defender is so essential for the whole ecosystem of the game.
Right, you've got the different dragon types, so let's run through them. The aggressive ones first.
That'd be the Flamewings, Fire Dragons, linked to drivers, all about raw hit damage, ending the game fast, pure aggression.
Then the unpredictable one.
The Storm Scales, Lightning Dragons, tied to hybrids. They specialize in speed, chain reactions, high variance plays, kind of combo-oriented chaos.
Okay, what about control?
That's the Tidewings. Water, sometimes ice dragons, tied to putters. Their game is finesse, controlling the pace, manipulating the environment with hazard effects, usually near the green.
And then
The Stonebacks. And then the Stonebacks. Earth dragons, tied to irons. Their strategy is pure defense, resilience, attrition. They are the immovable object specifically designed to counter the Flamewing aggression and the Storm Scale chaos.
got it. And there's a 5th one too, right? The rare ones.
Yeah, the Athermenes. The Weave or Cosmic Dragons. They sit sort of above the main cycle, focusing on really complex synergy and legendary game-breaking effects. But for the core dynamics, it's that cycle of 4.
That contrast makes it crystal clear. If the others represent the flight, the speed, the curve of the ball, the Stonebacks are just gravity, the earth beneath your feet.
That's a perfect analogy, which sets us up beautifully for Section 2, digging into that Stoneback identity, the grip and the attrition.
Right, their core philosophy. Patience and precision split the course.
Yeah.
And their creed. Grip the earth and nothing shall move you. Just scream stability.
It's all about controlling the middle of the board, those iron slots, and just waiting for the opportune moment, letting the opponent burn themselves out.
So the playstyle is endurance. Mid-range, consistent chip damage, like you said, attrition.
Exactly. They thrive in those reliable iron slots. Small, consistent damage that just adds up over many, many turns. They're the ultimate P3-P4 control mechanism. They aren't designed to win fast. They're designed to stabilize the board, anchor their allies, and just grind it out.
It sounds like the strategic equivalent of playing for par on every single hole in golf.
That's a great way to think about it.
You might not get the flashy eagle, but you're systematically cutting out the chances of a catastrophic bogey or worse. You force your opponent to take risks they probably don't want to take.
Precisely. And this connects directly to the core lore of the golf swing itself. The game ties each faction to a stage. Stonebacks embody the grip.
The grip? Okay. Stability, grounding, control.
Exactly. Without a stable grip, your whole swing falls apart. Without the Stonebacks DG holding the line, the TCG player's front line just collapses under pressure.
And that stability, that grounding, it comes through in their look too, right? Their visual fighting.
Absolutely. They are the embodiment of stoicism. Visually, think granite hides, maybe etched with mossy ridges, veins of earth running through them.
Cool.
And their ions, the clubs they represent, are often depicted as being carved right from their own bones, ribbed with stone veins that might glow faintly with runes. It suggests this internal geological power, not flashy external force, but deep inherent strength.
Yeah, you can picture it. And the colors reinforce that too.
Definitely. The color identity is all about deep, persistent stability. Primary is earth brown, like a rich soil, #B4037. Secondary is stone gray, #909090. And the highlight is this sort of iron edge color, #B0BEC5.
No bright reds or electric blues there.
No, there's nothing ephemeral about it. It's the palette of permanence, of something that endures.
Okay, so they're stable, they're defensive, but you mentioned earlier, kind of ironically, that the most stable faction actually spends a lot of time dealing with the least stable parts of the course, the hazards.
Exactly. Which brings us neatly into Section 3, Stoneback Resilience and Hazard Mastery. This is where that high DG really pays off, beyond just absorbing direct hits.
Right, because hazards triggered by those shaky strike rolls, the 4, 5, and 6, they're usually bad news, right? Especially for fast, high HD dragons.
They're potentially catastrophic. Landing in a hazard introduces tension, usually means paying a retrieval cost in resources or command steps, or suffering some nasty negative effects. But the Stonebacks, they're explicitly built to resist these zones, and more importantly, to actually leverage them as strategic slowing mechanisms against the opponent.
How so? Are they good in all hazards?
They're particularly good in one. They are the undisputed bunker specialists.
The sand trap. Roll 4, usually.
Often roll 4, yeah, maybe from a hook shot shape. The bunker is generally considered the mildest hazard. Retrieval is steady, it's possible, but it imposes these immediate DG and HD taxes.
Okay, so a penalty.
A penalty that can be crippling for, say, a flame wing. They often have lower DG to begin with. Taking a Meta 100 DD tax might reduce their DG to 0, making them incredibly vulnerable on the next turn.
But for a Stoneback?
For a Stoneback sitting pretty on maybe 700 DG, taking a 100 DD tax is annoying, maybe, but it's a calculated, manageable cost. They almost expect to end up in the bunker sometimes. They thrive there.
Thrive.
They convert survival into advantage. Some Stoneback or Iron Resolve Knight abilities might even trigger positive effects upon successfully retrieving from the bunker, regaining some GP, or restoring some DG. They can turn that penalty zone into a tactical staging area.
Wow. Okay, so let's contrast that. How would a different faction handle the hazards? Say, someone more aggressive or chaotic?
Good question. Let's take the Slice Fang Legion, for example. They're often associated with the Storm Scales, very chaotic. Slice Fang embraces chaos. They might have abilities that make it cheaper to get out of, say, the water hazard, or out of bounds, the really risky one.
Higher risk, higher reward, maybe?
Exactly. Their ceiling is high, but so is the potential for catastrophic failure. They win big or they lose spectacularly. Stonebacks, on the other hand, especially when paired with their Knight Legion.
Yeah, Resolve Knight Legion.
Yes. They embrace the grind, they focus on resilience, GP and DG recovery, and specifically softening the blow of that bunker tax. It's a completely different philosophy towards risk and course management.
And that specific Knight synergy is key, you said?
Absolutely vital. Stonebacks are designed to work hand in glove with the Iron Resolve Knights. The design docs describe that Knight Legion as a kind of monk faction archetype, focused on resolve, DG, attrition. The Knights themselves are bunker specialists, stabilizers. They favor the wedge and iron slots, just like their dragons. They are the GP engines, the bulwarks that let the Stonebacks do their thing.
So the Knight's ability to command, to manage the tempo, directly enables that Stoneback attrition strategy. You mentioned measured response outcomes for the knight.
Right. These are specific results tied to the knight's command role, illustrating how they support their dragons. Let's take 2 concrete examples. Imagine your Stoneback dragon unfortunately lands in the bunker.
Okay. Happens a lot, apparently.
Now, the Iron Resolve Knight commands that dragon to retrieve itself. Let's say the knight gets a specific command roll result, maybe a roll 4 on their command die. The knight's ability might trigger. Dragon returns from bunker. Ignore retrieval cost.
Whoa, just ignore the cost completely.
Completely negates the primary penalty. That is a massive resource advantage over time. Other factions are spending relics, maybe giving up their entire command step for the turn just to get a dragon out of the sand. The Iron Resolve Knight gets it done for free as part of the command.
That free retrieval must be essential for keeping that attrition tempo going.
Absolutely. Think about it over a long, grindy game, maybe 25 turns. Saving 1 command action or 1 relic card every time a dragon hits the bunker. That accumulates into a vast resource lead over your opponent.
Okay, that's handling the common, manageable failure. But what about real chaos? What if the knight gets a terrible command roll, like a roll 6? Usually that signifies disaster, right?
Usually, yes. A major miscalculation, a complete collapse of the plan. But this is where that Stoneback philosophy of discipline collapse really shines.
Discipline collapse. I like the sound of that.
For the Iron Resolve Knight, that catastrophic roll 6 command result might read something like this. Dragon is sent to hazard, but restore plus 100 GP, discipline collapse.
Wait. The dragon is sent to the hazard zone, but the knight recovers 100 game points.
Exactly. It actively converts the catastrophe into knight morale, into pure survival resource. The Stoneback dragon took a hit, got shanked into the rough, or maybe even the bunker again, but the Knight Legion's resolve, their GP, remains unshaken, maybe even strengthened.
Okay, why is 100 GP significant in this game?
Well, in T-Legion, a lot of mid-range attacks, after you factor in DG, might deal somewhere between 80 and 150 damage to the Knight. So recovering 100 GP effectively negates a full turn of successful offense by the opponent.
So even when their defense fails at the dragon level, the Iron Resolve Knight ensures that failure is monetized back into GP stability for the Knight themselves.
Yeah.
They're not just losing slower, they're actively regenerating from the failure state.
Nailed it. This is a direct hard counter to those really fast turn 3 Flamewing aggro strategies you sometimes see.
Yeah, okay.
If a Flamewing player manages to somehow bypass the Stoneback DG early and scores, say, 200 damage against the Knight in the first few turns, the Stoneback Iron Resolve player just focuses on survival. They use these disciplined collapse abilities, maybe some other recovery, to slowly creep their GP back up, effectively negating that early burst advantage the Flaming player thought they had.
That makes the Stonebacks a true nightmare for glass cannon strategies then. They literally turn the opponent's successful hits into their own healing.
It's a powerful dynamic. Now, you might be wondering, if DG and this attrition strategy are so good, why doesn't every single deck just splash Stonebacks?
Yeah, that's a fair question. What's the catch?
The catch is trade-offs. Always trade-offs in TCGs. Stonebacks are incredibly slow offensively. Their high DG almost always comes at the cost of significantly lower HD. They basically concede the aggressive tempo game entirely to factions like the Flamewings.
So they're relying on the opponent burning out.
Totally. They rely on the opponent eventually running out of resources, running out of cards, running out of steam, trying desperately to solve that DG puzzle turn after turn. It's a risky bet if the opponent draws perfectly, but it's a solid one against average draws.
That whole resource management angle brings us perfectly to Section 4, the support system. We need to talk about relics.
Ah, yes, relics. The tools, the form, the course knowledge, the technique, the guidance. They shape the shot.
So given the Stonebacks' needs, high DG, YDS stability, GP recovery, hazard management, which relic subclasses really give them the most authentic support, what fits their style?
Relics are absolutely critical, yeah. And for Stonebacks, 3 subclasses really stand out as core support: swing relics, caddy relics, and gear relics.
Okay, let's break those down. Start with swing relics. What's their focus? You mentioned form and stance earlier.
Right. The swing relic's primary anchor stat is DG, Dragon Guard. Think of them as form stabilizers. They're designed to smooth out performance outcomes, add consistency. Their most authentic pairings are usually DG plus YDS or DG plus GP.
So how do Stonebacks use them strategically?
They use swing relics for patience and defense. Specifically, they're great for mitigating those nasty defensive penalties that can happen on bad shot shape rolls. Like, if your dragon hooks into the bunker, roll 4, and the hazard rule says it takes a nat of 50 DG penalty,
A swing relic could potentially cancel that out.
or at least reduce it, yeah. Imagine a specific swing relic called, I don't know, the Mossy Form. Its text might read something like, when this dragon takes a DG penalty from entering a hazard, immediately restore 50% of the penalty amount.
Ah, okay. So it helps keep that core asset, the DG, functional even when things go a bit wrong.
Exactly. And their hazard retrieval flavor is important too. Swing relics offer rhythm-based safety nets. They focus on that DG plus YDS combo, representing the ability to kind of regain stability and rhythm after a mishit. It allows the dragon to chip out safely, maintain its position, rather than getting bogged down.
So swing relics protect the DG. What about caddy relics? You describe them as guidance.
Pure guidance, variance management, they're the moral support system almost. Their anchor is naturally DG plus GP, Dragon Guard plus game points. Caddies are all about stabilizing the overall game state and protecting the knight's composure specifically, the knight's GP pool from those big catastrophic swings in momentum.
So they're the safety net for the knight's health.
Precisely. And in terms of hazard retrieval, caddy relics are widely known as the safest retrieval subclass in the game. They focus heavily on that support stability aspect. They are the guardians that, quote, never let the floor fall out.
That sounds essential for Stonebacks to maintain that attrition tempo. If a dragon goes down, the caddy helps ensure it comes back without draining the knight's resources too much.
Exactly. They ensure the dragon returns, maybe exhausted, maybe slightly penalized, but intact. It prevents those hazard spirals where one bad shot leads to another, quickly draining the knight's GP.
But you mentioned there's a strategic limit on caddies.
Yes, a crucial one. They are generally capped at par 4 retrieval.
Par 4, what does that mean in game term?
It means caddies typically cannot recover the largest, highest YDS dragons, specifically the big par 5 driver slot dragons. They're just too far out, too much energy required.
Ah, so that cap actually reinforces the Stoneback identity.
Exactly. Caddy relics are most efficient at recovering the mid-range iron dragons, those reliable par 3 and par 4 utility pieces that Stonebacks rely on. If you try to build a deck that leans too heavily on massive driver slot dragons, you have to bring a different kind of relic support for them, which might dilute your focus on DG and attrition. Caddies push you towards valuing those iron slots.
Clever design. Okay, so swing relics protect the dragon's DG, caddy relics protect the knight's GP. That leaves gear relics. They seem almost counterintuitive for a defense faction. Didn't you say their anchors are usually YDS plus HD, offense stats?
They are, typically. Gear relics represent the precision tools, the actual physical irons that the lore says Stonebacks forge from their own bodies. While their primary strength is precision hitting, YDS plus HD focus, they become necessary for Stonebacks precisely because Stonebacks live in those mid-slots and interact with hazards so much.
How so?
Well, think about it. If your crucial 5-iron Stoneback lands deep in the bunker, you need the specialized tools to get it out efficiently and back into the fight. Swing relics help it survive, caddy relics help the knight endure, but gear relics might provide the actual means of recovery.
Ah, okay. So while swing and caddy provide the philosophy and the safety net, gear provides the mechanical execution of the recovery itself sometimes.
Correct. Gear relics hazard retrieval often focuses on tool-based precision. It might involve YDS plus HD trade-offs when recovering dragons. For example, a gear relic might let you successfully retrieve your dragon from the bunker, guaranteeing the recovery.
But there's always a but.
But it might impose a temporary negative 50 HD penalty on that recovered dragon for its next turn, a trade-off.
Which, for a Stoneback, is probably a penalty they're happy to take.
Exactly. Their game isn't dependent on high HD anyway. They're sacrificing offensive power they barely use in exchange for critical defensive stability and getting their piece back on the board immediately.
They just want the dragon back in position, ready to block or chip again.
Precisely. The gear relic ensures that mid-range iron dragon executes the chip out successfully and returns to the fight right away, even if it's momentarily weakened offensively. It lets the Stoneback player balance that inherent hazard risk they face.
Wow, okay. It really paints a picture of a truly cohesive strategic ecosystem then.
It really is.
The Stonebacks stack DG, maybe using swing relics. They endure hazards by leveraging that DG. They convert the attrition, even failures, into Knight GP using the Iron Resolve Knight's special commands. And then they make sure their dragons get back safely and consistently from those hazards, using caddy guidance and gear precision.
It is a game of patience, fundamentally designed to punish impatience. While the flame wings are desperately trying to explode onto the green in, like, 3 turns, the Stonebacks are perfectly happy, perfectly content to stretch the game out to 12 turns, maybe more.
Just chipping away.
Chipping away at the opponent's patience, their resources, their deck, and ultimately their resolve.
Well, that brings us towards the end of our deep dive into the Stonebacks today. It feels like we've really established them as the anchor of the battlefield. They master Dragon Guard, they master Hazard Resilience, all through the reliable consistency of the irons, embodying that grounding principle of the grip.
Their power isn't in flashy offense, not in HD. It's in that stubborn, disciplined attrition, that dependable recovery. DG and GP recovery are their weapons.
They really offer a profound strategic lesson, don't they? Especially in a game like T-Legion that seems defined by volatile shots and potentially catastrophic mishits.
Absolutely. The Stonebacks really prove that true strength on these mythical links might not always come from explosive speed or the biggest driver or hitting the longest ball. Sometimes it comes from the simple, unyielding discipline of just holding your ground, refusing to be moved.
That really is the Stoneback lesson. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you think about your own strategy, maybe in work or life or even another game like a faction in this TCG, what aspect of your plan is currently lacking Dragon Guard?
Good question.
What decision, what principle needs more of that disciplined, earth-forged stability to withstand the inevitable chaos that the course throws at you? Something for you to chew on, perhaps, as you solidify your own stance out there.
That's a powerful thought to consider. Until next time, keep diving deep.